Was Melania wearing a collar with JFK on it at Jimmy Carter's funeral? Stick around, we're gonna talk about it, and you're not gonna wanna miss this one. Trust me. You see, a lot of people were speculating that that was a picture of President Kennedy hugging one of his kids when they were younger. And I can see why people would think that. I mean, that hair, it's pretty hard to confuse. But why on earth, of all things, would she choose to wear a collar with JFK on it at Jimmy Carter's funeral? Well, have you seen my video where I show these three exact dots and these three exact dots and show you who they belong to? No? You haven't seen that one? Well, if you haven't, stick around because we're going to get into something about Melania that you may have not seen of mine yet either. You see, if you've never come across any of my videos, I talk about how when certain people in the limelight, like government people and actors and musicians, go bye-bye, or at least when they tell us they go bye-bye, they don't really go bye-bye, they just become someone else new in the limelight. And well, they love to leave us little cryptic clues, kind of like this one, which makes me wonder when Melania passes, I wonder if someone will wear a collar with Princess Diana on it. Oh, you haven't seen that video of mine either? Well, here you go. Now, before you watch this, clear your mind, open it up, forget everything you've ever known, and just look at the evidence. In an attempt not to upset the very, very kind content moderators, I'm just going to present you some information and let you make up your mind. But before you make up your mind completely, stick around to the end, because I do have a smoking gun. And yes, their features are quite different. But when you switch personalities full-time, a mask doesn't cut it. You need to make some permanent improvements. But cosmetics doesn't change the way you sit. It doesn't change the way you wave. And apparently doesn't even change the way you dress. And did you know that Donald Trump aggressively pursued Diana after her divorce? They also like to put the truth right in plain sight, not just visually, but audibly. Take a listen.
Mr. and Mrs. Trump? Mr. and Mrs. Trump?
Have you ever taken a look at what Barron Trump looks like? He resembles someone an awful lot. Gotta just be a coincidence, though. Definite coincidence. I did promise you guys a smoking gun, though, and I don't want to disappoint. And if you're smart and you're trying to deceive people, you get rid of identifying markers. So, of course, they don't get rid of that. And even though I see a little remnants there, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these. Those. I'll show you. Now, you're going to fool the masses by getting rid of the most recognizable identifying marker. You got to get up pretty early in the morning to fool this guy. And that, and that, and that, and that are pretty unmistakable. There's more. And although less obvious, so are these. And like I said, I'm not saying anything here. I'm just showing you for you to make up your own mind. The most likely scenario here is that I'm just a crazy person and I'm delusional. And even if I wasn't, this would all just be for entertainment purposes only. I don't really think people would go through the trouble of faking someone's death. And well, I did that video about a year ago, so I thought it was time to see if I could find some more like that, and that, and that. And well, I'll circle it. Voila, I can't imagine who these belong to. Oh my gosh, would you look at that? Melania and Diana. And before this version of me tells you this was just for entertainment purposes and yada yada yada, I just want to thank my subscriber Jacqueline for bringing the whole collar thing to my attention. And guys, if you would ever like to subscribe, I have an amazing subscriber group where you can post and you don't get judged by anyone that doesn't have an open mind, because no one with an unopened mind subscribes to me. So feel free to join, especially if you're on the FB. We're growing by leaps and bounds, but I have a subscription on all my platforms where you can get a hold of me, because if you aren't a subscriber, you really can't get a hold of me because I just have too many people reaching out. But also there's 50 subscriber only videos that have loads more information in it because I'm not as censored in there. Now, back to this thing. You see, people's faces don't line up this perfectly well unless they're the same person. Usually eyes or nose or mouth distance will be off a little bit, but you will see it's a seamless transition other than a little bit of nose shaping and eye shaping. But of course, this is all for entertainment purposes. People, I know that this stuff doesn't really go on. I just do this for the likes and the clicks and the views. I don't really care about waking up humanity so we can take our power back and figure out who and where we are in this crazy place and that God is most certainly real. Entertainment only.